This is Abhishek, and I'm honored to be presenting today at the Curiosity Conference 2020. And the topic today is that we are living on the edge.
In a world completely at the edge, from affliction inflicted by COVID 19, we are at the edge of sanity as well, with burgeoning incidents of suicides and homicides across the world. We are also living at the edge of logical reasoning, whether to keep economies closed at the cost of human misery or open at the cost of human life. However, as we have always seen, throughout our existence on this little blue green planet, we humans have something going for us always. That is, we are living on the edge of constant technology revolution. From smartphones to SpaceX to AI assistants, we as tech consumers have been thriving in an ocean of constant change over the past many years. Among these, I rank two breakthroughs as game changers for humanity as a whole. One is the development of CRISPR technology that is clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. Two is the low cost application of artificial intelligence in our day to day life through the use of natural language processing and iterative self correcting data crunching networks, enabling decision making. But did you know that we are also in the process of marrying these two technologies of CRISPR and AI? Many of you would know about CRISPR, that is basically a gene editing or genetic engineering technique which can be used to attack the genetic makeup of a virus or a diseased human cell. Here, AI has started providing a platform for accurate prediction of gene repair sequences in a simulative environment. This has allowed researchers to produce predictable mutation in human systems in order to understand and study them better. Now, in the context of COVID 19, very recently, Tim Abbott from Stanford University has observed positive in vitro results in using a CRISPR approach known within the lab as Pac-Man on COVID 19. When this CRISPR missile was aimed at the COVID virus, it had eradicated the virus in solution by almost 90%. But wait, before you rejoice, this in vitro success is just a baby step. The real game will be how this tech fares in an in vivo setting, that is, within a human body. Now, CRISPR as a tech inherently suffers from a major problem, that is, lack of a safe and accurate targeting system for delivering its payload. Without an accurate guidance system, using CRISPR tech is like carpet bombing within a living system, which can result in major mutations in a healthy human cell. I, however, believe it is here that AI enabled electromagnetically driven nanorobots or particles will actually come into play. These nanobots will carry out the CRISPR technique better by providing one, an accurate guidance system to the CRISPR method, and two, eliminate the need to use a microbial or virus for delivery. However, my dear friends, I am pragmatic, though an enthusiast. I don't believe that this will be the mass cure for corona pandemic for which we are eagerly waiting. The tech is experimental, though has massive future potential. Now, before I go further, let me introduce myself properly. My name is Abhishek Dutta, and I'm currently leading marketing planning and operations for indirect business at Hewlett Packard Enterprise. My focus is primarily on the Asia Pacific and Japan region. On a funny personal note, I experienced reinforcement learning firsthand while actually studying about it. So, for a while, my laptop keyboard was not functioning correctly, and the button for question mark didn't seem to work. Now, I was probably on a deadline, or maybe I was just lazy, but I didn't feel like getting it changed immediately. But to survive with it till the deadline at work was over. Happens to all of us, right? This, I believe, was for a period of 3 busy weeks at work, while I was also studying and researching about reinforcement learning technique. Now, while I didn't get it repaired, whenever I had to ask a question, I started using 3 to 4 dots as an extension to my sentences to denote that I was questioning something. This happened primarily over chat or casual emailing between colleagues. So passed my 3 weeks of busyness. After a while, I finally got my keyboard replaced, tested it by pressing the question mark on my keyboard 100 times just to be sure that it was working. The surprise was what I got after a week or so. I suddenly realized that in spite of having a perfectly healthy button on my keyboard, I was still using the 4 dots. That's when I realized that I had reinforced my brain to replace writing question mark by the 4 dots. And to make matters worse, it has now become a muscle memory. Well, with reference to working in AI, I'm currently working to identify the underlying digital operands which can help us drive demand in real time. I'm trying to achieve the same through 1. Market surveys, 2. Feeding the data and observations into a recursive neural network, and 3. Optimizing the network weights using time series and market mix studies. Among other ML applications, I am also associated with building individual tools and capabilities to enable smoother analytical and operational flow of data while attempting to remove bias in decision making. Therefore, you see that in my professional capacity, I belong to the business functions of sales and marketing, focusing primarily on the B2B segment of the high tech market. And I am here to tell you that across most enterprise industries, people in my function have been challenged extensively owing to COVID 19. Today, social distancing has spurred sudden transformation in traditional business paradigms, especially in marketing and sales domains globally, where the basic and existential face to face meetings have suddenly turned into meetings over an LED screen. Yes, the scales are finally tipping, and surviving on digital is already the new norm for businesses across the world. In fact, I believe this is the first instance where the world as a whole is taking a conscious and constructive step towards a true age of global digitization, which will touch all spheres of human life. If the world was just flat earlier, now it has suddenly turned into ether. Now, coming back to the sales and marketing perspective, we are being challenged every day to rush to our digital platforms and somehow reach our quarterly targets. However, like me, the world too is simply still transforming. Human purchasing pattern, especially for the enterprise segment in many industry, has just started to warm up to the new style of conducting business. Therefore, you see, this terraformation in purchasing behavior for most business to business buys will take some time. It's a common belief in many enterprise businesses that digital marketing, though a key first point of contact with customer, mostly does not result in the final closure of any deal. Personally, I feel that a programmatic approach to a continuous digital connect, followed by a telemarketing qualification, and then a personalized telesales touch, is possibly our best stand at this point in time, especially in the absence of face to face contact. However, over time, I believe that using deep learning through neural networks, we will be able to identify the correct digital operands, which will enable us to attract more customers through vanilla digital marketing campaigns and thereby drive more inbound lead generation through chat and calls. It will be very similar to what we have today in the B2C segment. But this process of building trust and loyalty in very high value digital purchase will take time. This brings us to the quintessential question: what are the actions that we should take in the meanwhile? Are there ways to fasten this process? I believe there is. I believe the answer lies in the development of integrated platforms or containers acting as marketing and sales engines, or as I would call it, MASE or maze. These containers or mazes will provide an integrated and immersive marketing route. It will not be restricted to just easy deployment of technology, but going a mile further, it is going to usher in the age of smart containers. These smart containers will eventually be able to 1. Surf and read the internet on market condition, 2. Estimate level of demand through social listening, 3. Decide on marketing content for campaigns, 4. Optimize content delivery mode based on ROI and impact, 5. Recognize the digital signals through gestures and chats with audience, 6. Score and route potential leads to specific sales resources based on capability and availability, and lastly, guide the sales team on specific customer likes and dislikes in order for the sales to personalize their approach to each customer. This would be the end to end role of smart containers or maze, from generating a lead to closing a deal. And the wonderful fact is that the basic reasoning algo to enable this is already with us. I believe the answer may lie in the form of deep reinforcement learning techniques. This is the same technique that is used today to develop your smart cars and interactive robots. All that's needed now is adoption, connectivity, and training the network on specific assignments. Hence, in a nutshell, now it's time to integrate specific capabilities that we have been developing over the past 2 decades into one wholesome maze container system. On the flip side, from Renaissance to Industrial Revolution to Alan Turing's machine decrypting messages during World War II, every major technology transformation has affected human economic setup. But does it mean that we didn't adapt to doing the next best thing? No, we have always adapted to do exactly what the situation demanded. We have always and we shall continue to do so. Yes, robotics and AI will have a deep impact, but will it be really error proof? Definitely not. And honestly, it will not be so for a very long time. The fundamental issue lies in the biased input data that we are feeding into any system. The input data is noisy and it has all sorts of bias fed into it. This input bias itself will render the smart maze container system biased. Thus, in the end, it will still require a human touch for taking the final decision. Therefore, AI systems, no matter how capable, is still very culpable and would require active human intervention to keep it in the right path. Eventually, yes, someday AI may be smart enough to stand on its own without any human intervention for it to work. But by then, like always, we humans would probably be engaged in the next best thing. That is, maybe in mapping EQ or emotional quotient into AI systems to help it mature. Hence, yes, we will probably see changes in the socio-economic structure. Current job requirements will change. But isn't that exactly what's been happening anyway for the last 100 years? We don't know what will happen yet, but we will surely adapt and thrive. To summarize, a few colleagues of mine and I believe that a truly effective and successful adoption of AI will be governed by the following four fundamental principles. Principle 1: systems should have free speech via integration, interconnectivity, and interoperability. This means that systems within a same function should be enabled to talk to each other freely through sharing of data. Principle 2: AI needs to be a cultural change, targeting the very genome of any organization. Therefore, transformation should start at the core and not from the edges of any system. This is the value echoed by Fred van der Wijk and Bhushan Parikh, two high-tech industry experts and my esteemed colleagues at HP. It basically suggests that for any system, be it an organization or even a robot, the adoption of AI should be a core principle guiding all decision making. Success will not be achieved through piecemeal solutions and adoptions anymore. Principle 3: humanize AI by making it more explainable. This thought comes in from K. Mohan and Nivedita Roy, both veterans in the analytics and data science industry. It essentially suggests that the human factor behind development and controllership of AI systems cannot be foregone. Hence, true adoption can only be driven when the developers humanize AI and make them easy to comprehend for human beings at large. It needs to be explainable. Last but most importantly, AI will mandatorily need to follow the three laws of robotics as defined by Isaac Asimov without fail.
Now, before I conclude, I would like to share with you an excerpt from Alison Serra, Global Vice President of Geography Marketing at HP. She says that COVID 19 has ushered in a new normal that has altered the complexion of business. With more than two-thirds of the buyer's journey already in digital, in a pre COVID 19 world, the acceleration to a fully digital marketing motion has never been more important. AI allows for closer customer engagement in a time defined by social distancing. With digital nurturing and data mining capabilities fueled by AI, marketing functions can help their organizations remain relevant and helpful to buyers in a fully virtual world. Also, I would like to extend my special thanks to all the industry experts and colleagues for your support in taking the audience to the journey tonight. They are Alison Serra, Nivedita Roy, Fred van der Wijk, K. Mohan, Bhushan Parikh, Anirban Tarafdar, Sharon Hugh, Annie Zhang, and Rinku Chatterjee. Hence, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are living on the edge of global transformations, and inclusion of AI, as per me, is inevitable. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.